Dear girlies, welcome to the Notes to Her podcast. We're back with episode 11 and I'm so excited. I'm really excited. Trying to bring, the positive energy, positive vibes today. It's your host Rianne, and I can't believe it. And another week has come around. It's Friday again. How are we all doing? What have we been up to? Yeah, girlies, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. My mind is a little bit frazzled, I'll be honest. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get into the groove of it. What a whirlwind of a week that has been. If you're new here, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. And, if you've been part of the community of the girlies, then welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as well, and hit that follow button so you're always notified as to when a new episode drops. Let's check in. Let's see how we're feeling. How are we doing? How has our week been? I'm feeling a bit excited. I'm also feeling a bit reflectful. I can tell my energy is a little bit like lower this week. Luteal phase. Don't really love Mother Nature. It's just been really, I don't even know, one of those like, when you can kind of just feel yourself going like a little bit down slowly but surely, lower energy and stuff. And that's okay. There are weeks that are like that. That is completely okay. So I'm in a bit more of a slower phase. Maybe that's the correct term to use this week. What else? How else am I feeling? I feel okay other than that, I think. I just have a little bit of like, when you're waiting for Aunt Flo to arrive. So I'm just a little bit like, come on now, let's just get this over with. Because the first like day or two can be a bit like, oh, like cut the cameras. So natural hair is out as well. So trying to give my hair a bit of a break from the gel, to be honest with you. And if anyone knows any like good styles to like wear for like natural hair and stuff, drop a comment below or send me like a message or stuff, because sometimes I struggle and I literally just end up putting it in a bun because I cannot be bothered, or like pigtails. Those are like my two go-to. So I've done like a little bit of like a, I don't know, two plaits in the front kind of vibe. I'm not that like experimental and curious when it comes to my hair. So anyway, I don't know why I felt like the need to address that. Like I said, elephant in the room. I don't know. But how has my week been? It's been good. It's been calm. It's quite nice, to be honest with you, to have like time to do things for myself, and I guess not being like a hustle and bustle kind of vibe, if that makes sense, where everything's like go, go, go. So a lot of things are like a lot more slower pace at my pace, which is really nice, to be honest with you, to be able to do things like on my time as well. So what have I been up to this week? Working again, and I went to go watch the new Michael Jackson film as well, which is really, really good. I would highly suggest to like go and watch that if you haven't already. It kind of gave insight into his life and stuff, and I know obviously it's like a biopic film and stuff, but great actors and actresses in that as well. And the guy, I don't know what the actor's name is, I should have looked it up beforehand, but the guy who plays the dad, give him his flowers. And I've seen him in like quite a lot of films that I've watched over the years, but he's so phenomenal. He had me and my mom really frightened. I can't like when he came on screen, like we could feel each other like be tense, and we were saying once we finished as well, it was really something where like you're almost holding your breath, like he had such a intimidating vibe. So I'm sure he probably really embodied the character, but also the father that he was playing, and portrayed it really, really well. And at first as well, I was kind of like, oh, this isn't Michael Jackson. Like obviously it's not. Let me land. Obviously it's not Michael Jackson. But like when you watch a biopic film, they make the person look so much like that person that your mind begins to think like, damn, like I'm actually watching this person in real life. I don't know if that's just me, but let me know in the comments if anyone else thinks that way. um, but like near like as the film was progressing, then like you can begin to see, obviously, how I don't know, the makeup effects and stuff made him begin to really look like him, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. So yeah, really, really good film. Music was really good. And it's kind of like, obviously, when you go to a concert as well, um, you tend to watch like or listen to the artists, look them all up and everything like that. So when we was finishing, I was doing like all of that and wanted to listen to all the songs and everything as well. So yeah, really good film. So definitely go and watch that if you haven't already. It's in the cinemas now. Yeah. And what else did I do? I also was catching up with my friends, caught up with a few friends as well during the week, which was really nice to kind of just like connect and like socialize in that way. And yeah, catch up and stuff. It's really weird now because you don't, obviously, like I've been friends with some of these people for like years. It's interesting how like you get used to seeing someone like every day, basically a large part of your life, and they still are. But then when life happens and you grow up and stuff, it's kind of like you have to carve out time like in 2 months to be able to go and see the person. So yeah, no, that was really, really nice as well. And then yeah, just being like studying and continuing with the course as well. So as I'd mentioned in the previous episode, I had began counseling course to become a therapist. So yeah, just being like finishing up with like one of the courses and still continue to study there. And can't believe it, like the first stepping stone to you know beginning this new career of mine is like, it's like a dream come true. So I can't believe like the first stage of it has now coming to a close soon. So yeah, yeah, really, really sad, but really good, and it's been really nice. And then I haven't been going to the gym as much. I know in the first, like, well, the previous episodes, I was like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. I'm in it, like I was really feeling it. I was disciplined and stuff, but I don't know. I think the slow pace and like I haven't prioritized it as much. So now it is just a bit slower, but I'll get back on the bandwagon. I have no doubt of that. Like I know I've got like a lot of pent up energy, although I'm also like feeling a bit tired at times and stuff as well. So that's really interesting, but I can tell it's like affecting me not being able to, or not prioritizing moving my body as much anymore. So yeah, that's it. How are we all doing? How has your week been as well, girlies? What have you been up to? Any new challenges, any new problems, new people, same people? Yeah, drop a comment below. Let me know how you've been going, how you've been going. I sound Australian because I've been watching Maths Australia as well, to be honest with you. So they always go, how you going? I don't know if that was a good Australian accent or not, but I'm going to take it anyway. So yeah, let me know how you're doing. And yeah, what you've been up to. So in today's episode, we're talking about seasons of life. And when I was writing this episode, there was so much that was going on in I felt like I was journaling, like it was just pouring out of me. And I love when I have that kind of like deep passion of just, I'm not even thinking about it, it just flows out. And so I was like, yeah, okay, this is what I need to talk about. The same way how last week I was saying for the procrastination episode, which if you haven't checked that out, go and check that one out. It was the same feeling. It was the same thing. It was just pouring out. And I was like, this is exactly what I need to be talking about today. So let's first start off with definitions. You know me, I love a definition. I love knowing the meaning of something. Helps me to definitely understand as to why a word, a thing, a context, whatever is the way that it is, why a person is the way that they are as well. So yeah, there was a few definitions. I've got, a biblical one. So let's go to church. Let's go to church today, people. And a general one as well. And it's not really like a definition for the general one. It's just kind of like key words, I guess, from a definition. So a biblical definition that I'd seen was the Lord created different seasons in our life to shape us, help us deal and create who he intended us to be. He uses seasons to show us that he is good. And then the main words that I picked out of the general definition was a specific period, a set, and a time of. So those things like really stuck out to me, and I know they can be used interchangeably. Words like seasons and eras. I know I use that a lot of times in my vocabulary as well. Or chapters, like chapter 28, chapter 25, like things like that. So I've also got the definition of like what a chapter is. And the definition of a chapter is a main division of a book, a document, or legal code, typically numbered or titled into separate divisions. So I'd actually underlined the word main division and titled into separate divisions. Those were things that really stuck out for me in that definition of like chapter. And when I think of those things, like, those phrases, those many sentences, I kind of think it shows that there's like a lot of significance. There's like an importance there as well. Sorry, I keep looking down because I've made notes. And I need to make sure I stick with the notes because it was flowing out of me so much. And I was like, how am I going to remember all this stuff now when I need to talk? Anyway, need to talk. So yeah, it shows that there's a significance, a relevance, an importance to that specific part of the book. And it was kind of like when, in life, there are so many different things that can go on, so many small details, so many memories that can be created, so many different experiences that we can have in life. And I sometimes don't my memory can be so bad sometimes. I don't remember everything. I do not remember everything. And I don't think we have so many things that happen in life. We're never going to remember a lot of things. But there are always things that will stick out to us the most, whether it's a memory, a specific, experience, someone, something, an environment, a smell, anything. Those things can stick out to us and they can kind of create, I don't really want to say like a page, but I guess a page in the chapter of life that you're in at that point in time. But I always think in life has seasons, they have all chapters, and those things are important, they are relevant, and they are of significance, that create our own story. I hope I'm making sense. To me, I'm making sense. I don't know if to the next person is making sense, but just stick with me. So when I initially was thinking, of this episode and like what seasons are, and my initial thoughts around it was kind of like it automatically goes to the weather. Summer, spring, autumn, winter. It automatically goes to that specific quarters of the year that we have where the weather changes, how we respond to certain things may change. Like, I know when it's winter, specifically in the UK, can be hella depressing. It's raining, it's wet, it's windy. It's like it gets dark by like 3-4 o'clock. Shorter evening, no, shorter days, longer nights. It's tough. Like, it's actually tough. But at the same time as well, when it's summer, it's hot-ish in the UK. Skin out. You can have, there's a bit more joy, there's a bit more laughter, there's a bit more like, I don't know, pleasure in life, I guess. Really, things can feel easy and whatnot. So it's the same thing with life. When we are in different seasons in our life, it can kind of feel parallel to that. That's where I was drawing quite a lot of parallels from. We do have those different seasons that occur. So, for example, like when it's wintertime, like how I just described it, cold, dark, wet, depressing, and parallel to that then with life, it can kind of be like the season of challenges that can be occurring, season of struggle that can be occurring, the seasons of pain, of grief. Like the season of struggle can kind of be like financially, it can be mentally, it can be emotionally, physically, spiritually. We can be struggling financially because we're broke, we're in a lot of debt. I'm not claiming none of that in Jesus' name. I rebuke that. But it can occur, right? We can feel like we're living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have, money to make ends or think money to make ends meet at the end of the day. We're having to be frugal or kind of like miss out on things and sacrifice certain things because you don't have the money to afford those things. You're waiting for a lottery that you don't even play for money to start coming in, hopefully, just to try and clear some debt. So in that aspect, mentally, because it can take a toll on our like mental health as well. Emotionally, you know, if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, a lot of things can come out in certain ways, or I guess that kind of like is along the same lines as like mentally as well. We can feel emotionally charged with a lot of things as well, and especially if we don't have like our awareness of what we're feeling too, it can be so confusing. Can feel numb as well. So those seasons where you're struggling the most physically, I've mentioned how I haven't been going to the gym as much, so I'm not saying I'm in a season of struggle with that, but I'm just saying like the parallel between that, like if we're not haven't moved our body in a long time, those things can take a toll. And then spiritually, like not being close with God, being distant from him, not being able to, feel like you can go to him, like those things, if you are a believer. And when I was writing this as well, I was also thinking about when it's winter, it's something where you're kind of feeling like, I don't know, I just see a lot of parallels between them because it is kind of like when it's wintertime, cold, wet, dreary, all the leaves have fallen on the ground, the trees are bare, the trees are exposed, they're naked. It's something where there's lots of wind coming, there's rain. I don't know. When I was writing this, it was sounding more flowy, but now I'm overthinking how I'm articulating it. Anyway, um, and it's the same with us. I think when we are in that season of winter, in that season that those seasons that I've just described, feel like we're naked, we're exposed, we're bare, people can see us, we're struggling, we're looking like our struggles. My sister uses that term sometimes, and it does make me laugh, to be honest with you. Because when you're struggling, like appearance don't matter, and it can feel like that. We feel like there is no way out. It feels like we're just bare, like we ain't got nothing left. We feel naked. So it's like there's nothing to cover us. But then at the same time, there are also trees, like people, who are remaining intact. Their leaves are there, they're growing, they're strong, they're remaining firm, nothing is touching them. And we can end up comparing when we're in our season of winter and someone else may be in a different season in their life in that aspect as well, which I'll come on to a bit later. The next season that I want to go on to is the season of autumn. When I think of autumn, I think of leaves changing color. They're beginning to kind of like they're still on the branches of the trees, but they're beginning to fall. Things are beginning to change, and I draw a lot of parallel to that with the seasons of happening in our lives, seasons of things changing, and there's a bit of confusion there. As well, we're not sure as to what it is, but we're kind of trying to go through the flow and make sense of what is actually happening in our lives at times as well. And it's the same thing with seasons of confusion and seasons of rejection. To some it could be feeling like autumn, but to others it could be the feeling of winter. um you know so much happens, so much change can happen, and it can feel quite overwhelming. Sometimes you can feel that loss of identity in yourself, because it's kind of like, well, I thought I was the way that I am, or I thought I knew myself in that specific way, but there's something else that's happening that I'm experiencing at this point in time that's not making any sense. So you're in that era, chapter, stage in life. And it's the same with like spring. Obviously, if you haven't picked up, then each point is kind of just like the seasons that we have. That's how I'm basing it at the moment. But it is kind of like that, isn't it? Things begin to bloom, things begin to brighten up, they make sense, they're no longer grey. And I know I'm not doing this in order specifically of like how the actual seasons are with, throughout the year, but you get my drift. Yeah, things begin to bloom. I feel like a sense of calm, things are brightening up. Um, Leaves are beginning to grow on the trees, and it's the same thing each time. You kind of like you're no longer bare, you're no longer exposed like when you are in the season of winter. You're no longer naked in that way, vulnerable, when I'm thinking of nakedness in that term and in this context. You're covered, basically. I feel like a damn what's it called? Weather person. Yeah, so over in Cardiff, it's literally going to be 20 degrees today, with the chances of showers and rain. Like, that's literally how I feel right now. But, I'm just drawing like a lot of comparisons and parallels towards life and the weather. I think there is, or yeah, the seasons, because it's genuinely like that. And I think last year as well, like I was beginning to like notice that a bit more. Like, I've spoken quite frequently through each episode about different challenges that I had experienced last year. And even though it was summertime, I feel like I was in my season of winter because it was a struggle. I felt naked, I felt exposed, I felt vulnerable, experiencing different things I'd never experienced before. Um, I felt confused. Like it was a lot. And then autumn came around, and it was and actual autumn and actual winter came around, but then I was beginning to feel like I was in my season of spring, or my season of autumn actually as well. Things were beginning to change, and things were beginning to kind of like look up and grow, and it was a season of happening, and it was a season of confusion for me at that point in time. And so I really wanted to kind of like draw upon that for sure, for sure. And obviously the last one is summer. Anyway, can't forget her. She's that girl. Everyone loves summer. Um, it is something essentially like when I think of summer as well, I think of, heat. I was gonna say hot, heat, skin out, you're relaxed, you're happy, you're fun, like you feel a lot of joy. And one of the best seasons and chapters that I had in my life, like, was 2022, greatest year of my life. I was going on holiday constantly. Like people know that year was my best year. I was going on holiday constantly. Every other year I was in a different country. Every other year. Every other month I was in a different country. Barcelona, Toulouse, Portugal, Thailand, Ghana, Gambia. Like it was the greatest time of my life. I just finished my masters, I believe, as well. Makes me want to vom thinking that it was that long ago. But even so, like, or I was either finishing my masters or I'd done my masters or was in the midst of it, I think. Um, and yeah, like it was absolutely incredible. Like I met my partner during that time as well, and it wasn't even a time where I was expecting it, because I was like, I'm outside, I'm doing my thing. I'm having a great time. I'm having new experiences. I'm meeting new people. Like I really learned so much about myself, made so many new memories, so many different experiences that I had as well. And it was just the greatest time for me, for my 20s personally, anyway. So that was my season of summer. Like that was what I needed, after being in education for so long as well. So to finally be free, shackles released, was so incredible. Um, and I'd made memories that will last me a lifetime. I think I'll always remember that, to be honest with you. Um, and I just love it. Even now, like I feel like at ease and at peace thinking and speaking and reminiscing and reflecting about, how great that year was for me. So I think of it like a TV show. Like when, I don't know why I was thinking of Vampire Diaries at the time as well, to be honest with you. Like that's literally what I'm thinking of. But shout out to any Vampire Diaries girlies. Comment below if that used to be your show. I love that show. Down bad. What the heck? Um, yeah, anyway, I think of it like a TV show as well. Same way how I was thinking about the weather is that because people can come into your life for temporary, you can experience things, go to new environments, experience new things, taste new foods, listen to new music, experience new challenges, experience new problems, experience the same problems, that you hadn't dealt with in previous chapters in your life. That are now coming to the forefront, that are now like, no, you actually need to face me. And so it is like that. You have the main characters in your TV show, in your film, and then you also have the side characters of people that can come and go as well in your life. And I think it's understanding that you can, still learn from all of those things as well. Nothing, I don't feel like anything's ever really permanent. sometimes. Like that, things change, like the seasons, they change, it differs, it varies. They can feel temporary, but it's all still a cycle. And sometimes when you are in your season of winter and someone else is in their season of summer, it can feel like, why are they getting the things? Or you end up comparing essentially and wanting what they have. I've said before as well in previous episodes that comparison is the thief of joy, which is very, very true. And sometimes I feel like we can do that in life a lot, especially with social media, especially with, in this day and age, we can compare quite a lot. And I've spoken about it in earlier in this episode about how we can compare our seasons, and what we're experiencing in life. Some people, especially people my age nowadays, like when you see, oh, so and so's pregnant, or oh, so and so's got this house, and oh, so and so's in this relation, and oh, someone's on this holiday, this extravagant holiday, and oh, someone's moved abroad, and there is so much that can happen, and we can kind of end up comparing ourselves and be like, yeah, but that's what I want to do, and then we can end up feeling also like we're behind in life as well, but we don't know the potential struggle or sacrifices or seasons that that person has had to go through to reach that milestone. um and I think it's kind of beginning to learn to and accept that nothing comes before its time, and understanding the season that you're in now is to help you grow for your greater good, even if it may not feel like it, or even if it feels like it. It's like, yeah, I'm living the high life, I'm feeling good, I'm doing good, everything is going great. There's always something that we can learn within those seasons. So yeah, don't compare, and nothing comes before its time. I think it's definitely asking ourselves as well and reflecting as to what season that we're currently in right now. What season are you in right now, girlies? Drop a comment below. Let me know. What chapter, what era are you in right now in your life? Is it a season of struggle? Is it a season of pain? Is it a season of grief? Is it a season of growth? Although growth will come through all those things. Is it a season of joy? When I was writing this episode, I was like, okay, these are the questions that I know I need to ask myself, ask you girlies, but I ask myself it too. And I couldn't really articulate it properly. And I love those questions, those questions that make you like pause and think, actually, like, what is my answer? It's not one that you can kind of just give. You have to stop and think. So what season are you in right now? What is the title of the specific division that you're in right now? I think I wrote down mine. They were curiosity. I started using the term be curious and be open-minded. It does me wonders, to be honest with you, because we can be so quick to judge things and assume things and expect things. But be curious and open-minded, that's my thing. So I feel like mine right now, curiosity, foundations, and building. Maybe that's my chapter name. It doesn't have to make sense. The titles don't have to make sense. As long as they feel like it makes sense to you. They could be words, it could be a phrase, it could be a quote. It doesn't matter as long as it makes sense to you. So I feel like those are mine right now. That's where I'm at right now, and that feels so right to say. And then I was like, what about a few months ago? What about in the first quarter of this year? What season would I say that I was in at that point? Or, the last 6 months, maybe. What seasons was I in then, or chapters of my life was I in then? And the first few that came was like loss and acceptance. Loss because, like I'd mentioned in the previous episode, or one of the previous episodes, number 9, I had changed jobs. They were doing job cuts and I was on a fixed term contract anyway, so didn't get extended. And although very unfortunate, I was like, right, okay, this is a loss. Although I knew it was anticipated, it was coming, it's still kind of like hurtful, and you kind of go through all those motions and stuff anyway. But then also came the aspect of acceptance, which was another thing that I wrote down. So loss and then acceptance. And the third one, the third word I couldn't articulate. I was like, although everything happened, how could I say that it was, what could I say? I couldn't figure out how to articulate myself. And I still can't really. But the last one was opportunity. Um, because if I didn't have that loss of the job, of my contract not extending, then I wouldn't have been able to accept, you know, the career path that I'm going to do now. And I wouldn't have seen the opportunity that comes with that too. I think that was the perfect word, because I'd seen it as an opportunity. Someone I'd spoken to before had said to me, like they had experienced job losses and stuff, and they were being made redundant in like one of their previous roles. Um, and they just changed it to an opportunity, and that really stuck with me, because it can feel like sometimes if we don't get a job, or we lose our job, or anything, it can feel like such a huge loss. A lot of our identity is put with things that, I guess, our job title. And so her saying that, of just like, actually no, she saw it as an opportunity. Obviously there was other things that had occurred as well, probably seen it as a loss, but depending on perspective, she did see it as an opportunity, and that really stuck with me when she said that. So then when it was my turn of loss in that way, I was like, no, let me change that mindset and begin to accept and then see it as an opportunity as well. And that really, really helped. So yeah, have a think, girlies, of what season of life are you currently in? What is the title of the specific division that you're in right now as well? And yeah, whew, girlies, I ended up being in a flow state. So girlies, we have come to the end of the episode. If you haven't already, please do drop a comment, like, follow, subscribe, share. I'm trying, and that's all we can do. We can try. If you haven't already, definitely give the Notes to Her podcast a follow on Instagram. I believe it's NotestoHer.pod. You can also, I don't know why I went like that. You can also give myself a follow. My name is RianneWalkxr, but instead of the E in Walker, it is an X. And yeah, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and I believe that is it. Yeah. So I will see you girlies in the next episode.